everybody. My name is Natasha Baebler, and I am a registered yoga instructor at the 500-hour level, and I also have a master's degree in special education and rehabilitation counseling. I'm the yoga instructor for the Disabilities program with SSD, which is an in-school and after-school yoga program for kids primarily with visual impairments. As an individual with disabilities, I have learned a variety of things about myself and my work as I've gone through life. One of the places that I realized was the most impactful for me was learning from my failures. So often we're so afraid that kids with disabilities are fragile or their life is going to be so much harder because they face adversity due to the disability, that all we want to do is tell them how wonderful they are and build up their self-esteem. There's an automatic assumption that self-esteem is low because of the disability. And as I went through my education and my career as an adult, I realized that the things that were done for me throughout school were wonderful. I had a vision itinerary, I had a physical therapist, I had an occupational therapist. But what was the most influential for me were those times where I had to fail, and people let me fail. I did not learn from the practicum experiences where I was endlessly supported and my weaknesses were made up for by other people. I learned from the first job where I had to figure out how to dig myself out of the hole that I was placed into by the circumstances of the job. And I became stronger because I was able to lift myself up and utilize techniques outside of the norm. Some of the things that we look at in the extended core curriculum within the special ed environment. One of my big things was I had to find a way to comfortably get around in my environment. I was not given my first cane until I was 13. And so I spent 13 years trying to figure out what is this world, and then another 5 years figuring out why the heck do I need this thing now, because nothing had changed in my world, but technology had changed in the way that they could now document and diagnose my disabilities. They really couldn't tell the level of visual impairment, although they knew something was there. So once they diagnosed that, there were a whole slew of other vision services I qualified for and didn't understand, and there were no resources there to help my family, help me understand what had changed, and that it wasn't me, that it was everything around me, and how do I deal with that. So when I came out of school with my special ed degree, I was determined, like most new teachers, to make things easier for the kids who came behind me. And one of those things was, how do I provide a safe space for kids to experience failure and the building up of the self-esteem by learning resiliency and self-determination? How do I help kids spatially? There are many IEP goals that I, as a special ed teacher who's also educated in yoga, I have a 500-hour certification in yoga. How do I use the yoga to help those kids meet goals, meet those things that fall between the cracks of the regular curriculum and even the extended core curriculum? How do we enhance orientation and mobility for a kid who doesn't qualify for O&M? Just because you have a visual impairment doesn't mean you qualify for that, but doesn't mean that there's those skills that you still need. And so learning where one's body is in space through yoga became a huge part of the Disabilities program and really building up proprioceptive skills. Learning through the practice of yoga poses that the first time you do tree pose, you're going to be wobbly. You're going to fall over. You're not going to be able to stand there. And it doesn't matter who you are, visually impaired, sighted, kid, adult. The pose can teach a child not just about their body, but about trying again, being persistent, learning how it feels in the body to fail. What are those emotions? How do they respond in the physical body, not just the mind? And how do I respond to that? How do I pull that back in myself? How do I ask for help? What changes can I make myself as a student and me as a teacher to help the kids integrate all of those things that are going through their mind, but they don't even realize are going through their mind. And so the Disabilities program came about as a bridge between what they're learning in school, and I bring in a lot of things. And when a student is struggling with literary fluency, I bring that in to our yoga classes. When they're learning Braille, I incorporate games that utilize practicing reading Braille and mix in yoga poses. So they may have to find a flashcard that has triangle pose on it, and then we get to do triangle pose. And then maybe they teach a friend how to do triangle pose to work on social skills. So really, bottom line of our program for me has been helping these kids realize that even when they fail at something to start out with doesn't mean that that skill is totally off the table for life. The first time we try and read, we don't read the chapter book fluently. It's the same thing with yoga. But that's pretty much it. Cool.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yep. Hold on. Stop. Stop. Stop recording. That's being weird. Why are you stopping? Stop. Thank you.